Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's the last day na po. Last day na ng October 31. Okay, last day of the month, and thank you for joining us today as we bring you the news, bring you interesting interviews, and welcome you to your program, your agenda here on Cignal TV, One News Channels 8 and 250. Although I am trying to put in as much energy as I can, I have to confess I have been very sick for the last week or 4 days, and I've actually been to our pulmonologist at the Rizal Medical Center, and our pulmonologist informed me that a lot of patients with COPD or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, yung mga may malalang asthma, yung mga nagka-problema sa baga, etc., heavy smokers in the past, they were all okay for 6 months, for the last 6 months, until the last 3 weeks, when so many patients started having problems, pulmonary problems, and they have been coming to the hospital, me included. So, ayun po, no? In case you have COPD or you have asthma and stuff like that, don't treat it as just a cold or a cough. Go to a pulmonologist to find out what's wrong, because may mga tao po, there are people who've had complications by simply saying, oh, it's just a mild case of asthma, etc. And before you know it, they have a heart problem or they have a heart attack. So I'm just telling you that please, in case you are having complications, coughs. In fact, our friend Bu Chanko was asking, a business columnist of the Philippine Star, he was asking, is there something going around that we don't know about? Because so many people seem to be coming down with what they call the flu. Is it still the flu? Is it whatever? But in any case, have yourself tested and don't take risk. And at the end of the day, like me, I'm outdoors, but I wear a mask. Hindi na pwede because you suffer when you have a lung or pulmonary complication. Anyway, today is October 31, 2023. It's a Tuesday. Thank you for being Cignal TV subscribers. Thank you for watching Agenda on One News. And of course, maraming salamat po, PLDT, Home Fiber Optic Internet. I always say, hindi po ito paid commercial. This is a personal endorsement of PLDT Home Fiber Optic Internet because I really appreciate their technology and their service, because wherever we go, when there is PLDT Home Fiber Optic Internet, doon na kami kumo-connect so we can do our program. And mind you, whether it's in Baguio, in the Visayas, basta meron, may programa tayo. Now, thank you also for those who watch us via Facebook, on YouTube, and on the Cignal Play app. Thank you very much. Please be well. Today, let's start the day with our daily starter. And it comes from, it's something that I want you to remember, especially if you're feeling like, pasan ko ang mundo, I'm carrying it all, I've done so much for everybody, but no one seems to be saying thank you, or I'm not appreciated, or I have more than enough problems and other people are still dumping on me. Well, here's our daily starter for you. It is from the book of Hebrews chapter 6, verse 10. For God is not unjust so as to overlook your work and the love that you have shown for His name in serving the saints as you still do. Hindi po unfair o sinasabi dito makatarungan ang Diyos. God is fair. He does not forget the work you do whether it's for your family, whether you are a housewife, whether you are a father who works every day to feed your family, whether you are an employee, etc. At the end of the day, it is God who sees your work and who will reward you for your work. So please be reminded of that, okay? Now let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star, October 31, 2023. And the front page headline, Comelec wants 1 week transition for winning bets. Normally, there is this setup where a winning bet takes his oath and then steps into the office and takes over. Apparently, the Comelec has caught wind or come to realize that this is not so wise, or this is not a smart thing to do, and they are requesting that the DILG for a transition period for the newly elected barangay and SK officials from the incumbents. And why? Because there is, this thing called Statement of Contribution and Expenditures, as well as the issue of monetary accountabilities. There may be something missing and the new winners may be blamed. So on one side, there is the need for the winning candidates, or all candidates actually, to submit their statement of contribution and expenditures for the elections, while the incumbent who will now have to step down must settle all of the accountability of their administration. Kasi mukhang in the past, what's happened is that nagkakaturuan or nagkakasisihan or blaming. At the top of the front page, the header, food trucks enter Gaza, returning Pinoys get aid. So at least there is now a corridor for food trucks to enter Gaza, well, I don't know if it's northern Gaza, but at least there is hope that the victims of that ongoing conflict or war will get relief and rescue. Meanwhile, the big photo at the top of the front page is a photo of President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos writing down his choice for barangay officials during the voting at the Mariano Marcos Memorial Elementary School in Batac City, Ilocos Norte. Left of that is the usual photo of voters looking for their names on the list of voters and precincts. Okay. Meanwhile, excuse me, violence erupts in Barm, but polls generally peaceful. That is the statement of the Commission on Elections, that there were numerous incidents of violence in the Bangsa Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao, or BARM. I hope I said that correctly, but Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. But overall, all over the country as a whole, the elections were peaceful, okay? Pero parang ironic, 29 reported incidents of election-related violence, at least a handful of people killed, and more than that, people getting beaten up, etc. But peaceful pa rin daw. Okay, so hey, siguro parang tabloid. Kung 5 lang patay, hindi masyadong problema. Anyway, okay. Pilot testing for elderly mall voting a success. Okay. The Commission on Election yesterday declared as successful the pilot testing for early voting hours for senior citizens, persons with disabilities, and heavily pregnant women. Bakit kasi hindi pa all? Sana in-all nyo na, di lahat kami naka-join. Okay. Anyway, that will probably be discussed further until the next election when people would rather vote in malls than in schools. And that is what Chairman Garcia also wants to do. Meanwhile, center photo of the Philippine Star is still about the incident that took place in Puerto Princesa, Palawan, where a group of men disrupted the elections and destroyed election-related paraphernalia, and that's where the police came in. Pero kind of weird, ano? Parang they're supposed to be in the schools. How did it happen that the room was destroyed and the paraphernalia destroyed before they got there? Well, whatever, they will have to account to their regional chief. Anyway, we go further down. Governor, 13 mayors face vote buying probe. Okay. Then, so for those of you who are wondering, apparently the vote buying allegedly, reportedly took place in the homes of these governors and mayors. May mga nagsumbong and doon daw sa bahay ni governor and those mayors, that's where the vote buying took place. Bottom left of the Philippine Star, Child House celebrated the 21st anniversary at MOA Music Hall last Sunday by honoring the many donors who continue to help Child House be a bastion of hope for children with cancer. In the photo, our mother, Ricky Reyes, on the left, hindi tumatanda, and dapat ito maging saint, Kuya Hansi with the Child House children. My hats off to both these guys. They're genuine patrons of orphans and, of course, also very generous in helping others. Church urges faithful, choose saintly over spooky. Okay, there's a point here because Manila Cathedral Vice Rector Father Vicente Gabriel Bautista yesterday said the Catholic Church discourages the wearing of scary costumes and displaying scary house decorations to commemorate Halloween. And long and short of it, it is in memory of the saints on All Saints Day. Eh bakit puro multo at kademonyohan ang sinusuot nyo at dinidisplay ninyo? Okay. Last but not the least, continued water supply assured amid repair of Angat Hydro Plant. Okay. Angat's hydropower plant will be closed for repairs for 61 days to upgrade its facilities for better operation. But in spite of that, tuloy pa rin ang paligo ni Juan de la Cruz. May tubig pa rin naman daw. Okay, so that's it. We will go for a break. When we return, we will talk to our first guest, who's a very interesting individual, and maybe we will learn a lot, not just the technical side about the product he now represents, but also on his personal experience. We're going to come back here on Agenda.
Preparing for a long drive in this week's series of holidays, here are some reminders before you embark on the road. First, check your car's condition to prevent any unexpected stops. Make sure you inspect the car's tires and fluids. Better yet, go for a tune-up. Second, always bring important kits like tools, first aid kits, and emergency kits. This is important because not all areas have the resources you immediately need when you need help. And lastly, pack right. Know the maximum load capacity of your car and avoid overloading your car to avoid straining your vehicle. What are the other reminders we should keep in mind for a long drive? Let's discuss this on today's agenda.
Alexander Osias is the marketing head of Motolite. He joined the company in 2020. Prior to this, Osias worked as the Senior Digital and Online Manager at Okada Manila and Digital Unit Head at Publicis Jimenez Basic.
Welcome to the program, Alex.
Hello, Cito. Thank you for having me.
Well, I went through your background and I found it quite interesting because you took up the computer studies, or you took up a computer program course in California.
That's correct, Cito.
So
computer engineering, yes.
Okay, sorry, you have to forgive me. I'm kind of slow today. I'm on
I heard.
drugs. I'm
I hope you
literally
get well soon.
Yeah, but okay, so you took up computer engineering. Now, where's the connection here? I couldn't see a pattern, from Okada, which is gaming, okay, maybe gaming, and then Publicis, which is a ad agency, then, okay, it's still computer, but then Motolite, and I'm like, okay, he disconnected when he jumped to Motolite. What happened there?
Well, it's actually very strange, I suppose, but the engineering program I actually joined was actually a lot of engineering. They required us to study all sorts of engineering before we focused on whatever our chosen career path was. In my case, that was computer engineering, but I had to study mechanical, electrical, and even civil a little bit. But the reason that my career path took this route is because right around the time that I was getting into computers, that's when web development and the internet really boomed, and so I was part of that push into digital everything now, it seems, right? And so my career path through the agencies, digital agencies, and of course through digital communications brought me to Motolite, where obviously a lot of engineering goes on. The motoring industry just does not want to stand still, and as a result, so must the battery development and services. And that's how I ended up where I am.
Okay, I thought you were going to say something else. But so you transition, but again, you're at an entry point, because you said when you got into computer engineering, digitalization, it was at the beginning, and it's become the boom years. Now in the automotive, it's all about electric vehicles, even bikes, e-bikes. It's become a controversy on social media when you see children, elderly women riding their e-bikes on main roads and stuff like that. And then now this whole conversation about electric vehicles for Asia. So you're at the entry gate, as they say.
Yes, we are. It is, of course, a disruptive technology. We're at a transition point. And I think that, as you can see in Japan and in Asia, and actually in the world, there are debates about the use of EVs. Which direction will it be? Because it's not just the technology themselves, but the infrastructure that will support it. How do we charge these vehicles? How do we dispose of these vehicles? How do we recycle them?
Okay,
all of that
but before we go into that heavy tech discussion, I'd like to do the transition as well, because we are a teaching program in many ways. We like to teach the younger or even the older viewers connection. So like in your case, you took up computer engineering. Now, your pattern has been with digital platforms, but marketing, computer engineering and marketing. I was in sales promotions for 4 years, but
Right.
I can't make the connection when I said, how did he get into marketing? How did that happen that you landed at the position as marketing head for Motolite?
Well, it was a slow process because I did start obviously in the computer side of things. But because of the connection to the web and its role in being able to communicate
Mhm.
to the general public through the internet, I slowly moved into that space. There was a lot of work on websites. There was a lot of work on uh, transactional websites where people can buy things, where people can ask for things, and of course, eventually the emergence into e-commerce and social media and so on. So my involvement from more the harder sort of programming and hardware software concerns, I slowly shifted into handling accounts, being able to explain to our clients what is needed in order to implement the visions that they had.
So
And as a yeah,
essentially, Alex, you were doing the back room,
I started
setting
from the
up
back room.
the back room. You're doing all of the technology, the digital sale, digital promotion of Motolite products, etc. And then you became very familiar with the language and needs of Motolite corporate clients and the general public. But who decided? Because that's a rare move, huh? I've only seen that happen personally, where someone in the back room gets picked up and put on the front row.
Oh well, I was already doing marketing when I joined Motolite. Because
Mm,
when I came from Okada, I was already on the side of communications and digital communications back during the start of the COVID
mm,
era, and that's when I made my jump. So I was already handling communications. I was already handling websites as well as supporting the marketing team there in terms of events, in terms of PR, and so on and so forth. So I was
okay.
already familiar with all those other roles before I joined Motolite.
So what is the situation now? A lot of people would say, kuya, you really have to be tech savvy already. You have to understand computers because everything from marketing, distribution, everything is already digital in nature. And I said, yeah, sure. People still go to the palenque, so don't tell me everything is digital. Although when they go to the palenque, I see people, pwede bayad GCash, pwedeng magano. So I'm kind of like, okay, maybe it is beginning. So for standard products, heavy products like yours, okay, is it really going to be a world where it's all digital already? Because I used to go to a Motolite dealer near my house, and I would say I need batteries, and then I would trade my old battery for however much, few hundred pesos, and then I will bring it home, and then I will connect it, etc. And then recently I had to go through a series of like 3 vehicles na lahat patay na yung mga baterya. But I had to make a phone call, and then they sent a technician, and then it was very interesting because the way he did it was so different from how I did it. So, is this going to be the world you just call somebody and all your needs are met?
It certainly seems to be going that way. Of course, we're not. There's always going to be a place, I believe, for the outlets,
Mm-hmm.
because there will be a need for people to go there and to be able to explain sometimes some things visually, right? They have to point out certain things. They have to show the certain sounds that their car is encountering, and
Mm-hmm.
so on and so forth. But we do also provide the services where we come to your house, we come to your office, or as happened to me before I joined Motolite, in the basement parking of a hospital where I had forgotten to turn off my lights when my son was in there for 3 days. So we were ready to go out, and unfortunately, I realized, oh, the lights were on.
Mhm.
But yeah, somebody came. I called. Somebody came, and they of course told me, sir, naka-on yung ilaw nyo. Yes, sorry. So they helped me with my battery. I was given a service battery so that they could charge my battery because it was dead, and I was able to leave. And there are things like that there are new channels where you can get it through our mobile app. You can still call our hotline. We have people messaging us on our official Facebook Messenger. The digital aspect is just an additional channel for you to get a hold of us. As far as we are concerned, it's another channel for us to communicate with our customers, and for our customers more easily to get a hold of us. There's even the asynchronous aspect, right, where they can message us, and then we're the ones who get a hold of them when they schedule a meeting with us. So digital aspect definitely is there to stay. And I think you touched on something else, Cito, which is the motors vehicles technology does not sit still. Now there are cars that will not that will not recognize sometimes your batteries uh, because of
What?
the onboard computers that they have. Some of the more high end vehicles, right? You have to tell the computer, hey, there's a new battery, and this is
Yeah, I
its number
noticed
and so
that.
on.
I noticed that when your technician came to this was, I don't, before I did this interview with you, I don't think I ever spoke to you before, but I noticed that when the technician came and he connected his battery to my battery that was still connected to the car or something like that. And I said, so what's going on? Sir, pag tinanggal ko, if I remove the cables just like that, it will disrupt your onboard computer.
Oh, okay.
So it has to be seamless. That when you remove the old battery, because it was still running, but when I removed the old battery, it has to be at the same time that the new battery is going to come into place. Kumbaga sa puso, you don't rip it out because the onboard computer is just going to say, we have a malfunction, and then you're going to have to call the dealer for your car.
That's correct. So that's why, the more advanced now the cars are, the more specialized the technicians training has to be.
Mhm.
And that's why, on our end, we have to actually keep them updated. We've invested in some new testing technologies also for the batteries. Certain cars now, obviously, they have two batteries, right? There's the main and then there's an auxiliary. So in addition to before, when we just had to know what car is that, and this is the size, and this is the voltage, so this is the battery that's recommended for that.
Mhm.
Now our technicians really have to know, okay, which does this have two batteries, and where are they, and is there an onboard computer, and what do we need to do to make sure that the onboard computer isn't reset, it doesn't reject what we installed. So yes,
Yeah.
it's one of the
Okay.
many things we have to stay on top of.
The reason I suggested to our team to call Motolite is because this is actually a true story. While I was doing the show, I heard people talking outside the window, and I said, "What's going on? Why are these people talking so loud?" And after the program, I looked out, and apparently my neighbor's battery had died. So they had called the technician. They were talking, discussing at length on what had to be done because it was a very new car, and so they finished the replacement, etc. So I said, you know what? There's going to be a lot of people traveling on November 1 or today, October 31, and all of them will be looking at the engine but not the battery. So, and then one of them, or God forbid, but if you're in some far-flung place where they don't have electricity, you're dead. Okay, so what are the things that people should keep in mind? What are the things that they should always be? Because I now have a habit of etching the date on the battery. I will
Mm.
literally get a soldering gun or a hot piece of metal, not too deep, but I just etch the date and my name on it because I've known people stealing batteries, especially in some service stations. You leave your car and you take your car. Oh, okay na yan, sir. Maayos na yan. And then when you drive it around after a few weeks, the battery dies. And you kind of wonder, is this my battery? It doesn't look like my battery.
Well, I think that definitely people should make sure that people don't steal their battery, obviously. Um, what people should pay attention to is to also make sure that they, the early warning signs for the weakness in a battery. So if it's hard starting, you should probably give us a call and have us do a free check on your battery. We also, you can also check to see are there too many things that are relying on the battery? Maybe you needed a more powerful battery than what you currently have. You can check are there lights that are flickering just on the dashboard, or are your lights weaker also, which is worse on your headlights? All these various things, they can be indicators, but that's why you'd either want to go into one of our outlets, or you'd call our hotline, or use our rescue app to call the riders, technicians, to find out if there is a problem with your battery.
Is there a charge to that, Alex? If we, let's say I call, okay, and I said, gusto ko sanang pa-check ko yung battery ko, okay pa. Is there a service fee for that?
For people who are using our rescue app, no, there's no fee for that. We perform those services for free for Motolite users. We'll charge, and we'll let you know what the charges are, because they vary. If you need something else, the rescue app offers not just help with battery in the Metro Manila area, but also for flat tires, for running out of gas, and overheating, which fortunately doesn't happen quite as often, I'm happy to say, based on our statistics. But people do have problems sometimes with their tires more often, and surprisingly running out of gas also. But then again, given how expensive it is, maybe people are really just trying to save until that last moment.
Okay, but you mentioned something about people connecting so many things to their cars.
Yes.
I've heard people complain, oh, my husband has 2 phones being charged all the time, and then he has this accessory and that accessory. Most cars have a standard size battery, and from what I remember, they usually fall under your 2SM category. Do you know? Can you explain what 2SM stand for?
Well, 2SM is one of the sizes that they refer to. But there are, just to be clear for all the other people there who have heard other sizes, right? There's the 1SM, 2SM, 3SM. There's that, but then there are also the DIN sizes, because there's a European way of talking about the sizes for your battery, and then there's the American way of talking about the sizes of your battery. The important thing to understand is that different cars have different battery sizes.
Okay.
Right, and so you just have to know which one is specific is for you. That's one of our most common sizes.
Is the size of the battery relative to the number of cylinders in a car? Because I grew up in that generation, and obviously you're much younger than I am. But in my generation, 6-cylinder yan, 8-cylinder. Pare, lakihan mo na yung baterya mo dahil yung starter mo malaki.
In general, you're looking at there are demands that will require not just the engine, that will require a bigger battery. One of the deciding factors is obviously how much space is given to it in the engine, but sometimes the battery itself is not always going to be in the engine compartment area. In some vehicles, it's in the back, as you know, in the trunk, and sometimes it's actually in the underneath, where either the passenger or the driver sits. So the size really, it's not necessarily dependent on how many cylinders you have. You really have to check in your vehicle what is the current size and what is the recommended size according to your manual. And for the younger generation, as you mentioned, Cito, it's a good practice, by the way, to read that car manual when you first get your car. There's a lot of things in there that you will be prepared for if you are you're familiar with it.
Yeah. So when you charge, when you have so many phones on, I mean, every kid in the family At least the people I know, I only have one child, but if you have 2, 3 children, that's 2, 3 kids using a laptop or an iPhone, your wife, and etc. So, kaya ba yun? Can the system handle that on the standard battery, or you really have to upgrade?
You may have to upgrade. We would recommend that you be scientific about it and you try to calculate what is the parasitic load or the drain that would be on the battery.
Mhm.
I don't know if a lot of people out there know, but obviously the battery is used to charge. Is used to start the car, right? After which, in general, the rest of the vehicle is powered supposedly by the engine running.
Yeah.
Right, and then the engine also slowly recharges in the battery itself. But if you have a lot of other things that are draining the battery, right?
Mhm.
And you're not especially if if the engine is off, right? You may find that you've drained the battery. So obviously lights is an issue. Lots of things charging is an issue. Sometimes people have dash cams. Sometimes they have rear cameras. They they have, some people even have refrigerators and so on. So these kinds of things you really should check to see what is the load that you're putting on your battery, because at some point it may not be sufficient for the car to be running, for the engine to be
Mhm.
running to charge your battery, and in fact it may make it more difficult for the battery to charge. So you really have to check to see what the load is on your battery. There's ways of
Okay.
testing that.
Okay, let's go for a quick break, Alex. And when we return, maybe a few more tips from Motolite so that our viewers can be ready now or in the future when they travel, so they'll be at peace. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Agenda and Alex, you're back on bat, as they would say in California. So you were talking about load, the discharge load that people put on their batteries. Now, could you explain to us, because I get asked this question a lot, and like, pwede ba punta na lang kayo doon sa Motolite? Hindi naman ako technician eh. Because they ask me, Kuya, what's the difference between the Motolite Gold, the Motolite Green? I think you even have a white model. I'm not sure, but that might have been an old model. But hindi ko alam. Ang alam ko lang, Motolite Gold and yung Motolite that green. Okay, what's the difference? Is this just marketing, branding, or different categories in terms of value?
Well, this is related to the earlier question, Cito. There are certain cars that only need a certain amount of starting power and auxiliary power to be provided to the car. So we start off with our Motolite Enduro, right? And as we go up in battery power demands, we go up to the gold, which is really the most biggest workhorse that we have. A lot of cars, they go to Motolite Gold. Then one above that is Motolite Excel, which is our top of the line for maintenance-free batteries. So this is the green one that you mentioned. The gold is obviously a more yellow-orange, and then we have our Enduro, which is more blue in terms of the colors associated with it. For special batteries or even higher demands, we actually now even have our Motolite Excel Enhanced Flooded Battery, or EFB, which is a technology that lasts that delivers more power and lasts even longer. It's meant to really handle a more torturous sort of demand on the battery. That's our Motolite Excel EFB. But we do have on our website at motolite.com a sort of battery finder, so that if you want to find out what is the recommended battery for your vehicle, you can just go there and you can type in your car make and model and year, and it will recommend to you which Motolite battery and size is the recommended baseline. You can, of course, upgrade if you want, because who knows, you may have a TV and refrigerator and full charging station in your car, right, for the whole barangay. But our recommended baseline is going to be recommended by our website.
Okay, so what other things should okay, so you have a website, you have a battery finder. Now, what about, okay, battery chargers? Because I know that there's now a market for battery minders. You know, I have friends who plug on the wall and connect it to their cars, and I say, what's going on? Just making sure that it's always charged, even if we're not using it, etc. But you drive it regularly, you don't need that. What's the story on that?
Well, we have seen some people use that, and I believe that there may be an issue, again, like we mentioned earlier, yung parasitic load. There may be a drain when the engine is off and the key is out, right? There are some things that are draining the battery, and their solution is to charge it also. Or there may be something wrong with the battery, because it shouldn't be draining really that badly when everything's off, except maybe for the clock. So that may be their way to just make sure that their battery will stay a little bit longer, because they charge it in the same way that we would, for example, to a greater extent, when we replace a battery, or we provide you with a service battery and we charge your old battery because it has been fully discharged. There was something wrong with the charging, but the battery itself is still sound, which means that there's an electrical problem with your car.
Okay.
Right? You're not charging your battery properly for some reason. It takes hours to charge up that battery. So maybe this is what they are doing in their case. They want to make sure that whatever the problems they're encountering, they are charging their batteries. We don't currently sell any such battery chargers, but we do use them actually for those customers whose batteries have been fully drained. And
for customers who leave their lights open in the parking garages
Guilty.
of hospitals.
Guilty.
Anyway, Alex, thank you very much for this very informative interview, and I proudly endorse your products, Motolite, because I have used them for, I can't remember, I think from the day we started driving, naka-Motolite na kami. But thank
you so
you.
much, Cito.
Thank you, and we do hope that your teams will all be out there taking care of Filipinos who really need it, especially when they're supposed to be on vacation, but instead are stranded. You got teams out there?
Yeah, yes, that reminds me. We will be out there tomorrow. We're partnered with Petron, Lakbay Alalay. You can encounter us at the Petron PEC1, Marilao, Bulacan. And then on SLEX, Petron PEC3, San Pedro, Laguna, we will have a Motolite team there along with the Petron team. We can perform battery checks for you. We can do a printed out battery check and make recommendations if there are any problems with your battery or not. It's part of the overall safety checks, the free vehicle safety checks that are being provided there at these locations.
Okay, well, Alex Osias, thank you very much for your time this morning. And thank you to Motolite for the help you give our motorists. God bless you, bro.
Thank you, Cito. God bless you.
Okay, that's Alex Osias, marketing head of Motolite Philippines. We'll go for a quick break, and when we return, we'll go for an update on what's happening or what happened during the elections and what's the summary by the PPCRV or Parish Pastoral Council on for the votes. Okay, we'll be right back here on Agenda.
Dr. Arwin Serrano serves as the Director for Voter Education of the Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting, or PPCRV. The PPCRV is a nonpartisan, non-profit organization based in the Philippines that is dedicated to promoting clean and fair elections in the country. Serrano is also a certified life skills and self-discovery coach and certified master coach.
Dr. Serrano, welcome to the program.
Yes, kaibigan Cito, at natutuwa ako na maging guest sa iyong programa.
Okay, matanong lang namin ano ang overall assessment niyo dito sa naging barangay and SK elections, Doc?
Well, marami tayong mga natunghayan na mga piloted electoral exercises katulad ng early voting na nakabawas ng malaking-malaki doon sa mga vulnerable sector voters natin sa Naga at Muntinlupa City. Maagang naproklama at malaki talaga yung kaibahan nung voting experience naman doon sa dalawang barangay sa Las Marinas City, Cavite, yung Paliparan 3 at saka Poblasyon, at ganoon din sa Barangay Pasong Tamo sa Quezon City. Bagamat nauna lamang na naproklama yung mga botante doon sa Las Marinas City, Cavite compared doon sa Pasong Tamo, Quezon City, at ganoon din doon sa voting experience ng ating mga nakasamang botante sa kanilang mga clustered precincts sa 11 malls, 8 sa Metro Manila, 1 sa Legazpi City at 2 sa Cebu. At ganun din doon sa naging maigpit na implementasyon ng Comelec at ganun din sa pakipagtulungan ng PPCRV sa Comelec para ma-implement itong Committee on Kontrabigay, yung mga ginagawang mga premature campaigning, and even doon sa mga tamang mga campaign materials at campaign procedures na gagawin ng ating mga kandidato. Kaya naging, kung ikukumpara mo, kaibigan Cito, na malaking kabawasan hindi lamang doon sa dami ng mga campaign materials, bagkus pati yung dumi na na-create after every electoral exercises. At ganoon din, although meron tayong mga naging karahasan, ilang linggo, ilang araw bago maghalalan, and even kahapon nga meron pa nadagdag. Pero if you compare this do sa ating 2013 barangay election at dun din sa May 2018 barangay and SK elections, malaki yung kabawasan na nangyari in terms of election-related violences kumpara doon sa nangyari sa atin kahapon. And doon sa mga nawawalang mga botante, sa talaan ng mga botante, mas konti na siya ngayon. Pagkamat perennial problem talaga yan kapag tayo ay nagkakaroon ng halalan. At ganun din sa mga iba pang mga aspeto ng ating halalan kapon, malaking improvement. Although I would like to expect sana and desire to have a 90% voters turnout, pero parang ang nakikita ng Comelec ay baka aabot lamang sa 70 to 75% voters turnout.
Okay, ang ibig bang sabihin, does that mean that people did not put as much value to this election, or is it because many people don't recognize or know the candidates?
Isa rin po yan, kaya nga nakakalungkot kay Cito, na para sa akin kasi, ang pinakamahalagang halalan ay ang ating halalan pambarangay. Mas mahalaga pa yan kumpara sa pagkapangulo. Kasi pag meron ba tayong mga reklamo, hinaing, mga gustong mangyari o papanukala o kaya mga improvements sa mga delivery of basic services, pupunta pa tayo sa Malacanang, sa Kapitolyo, sa City Hall o munisipyo. Hindi, doon tayo pupunta sa Barangay Hall na malapit lang sa atin at karamihan pa nga, kilala, kumpare, kumare, kamag-anak, kaibigan, kapitbahay natin yung mga nakaupong mga barangay officials o mga nagtatrabaho sa barangay. Kaya nga dapat kilalanin talaga nila ng gusto itong mga kandidato na humaharap sa atin.
So, ibang-iba na,
Makaboto tayo
Doc,
ng maayos.
Doc Arwin, ibang-iba na doon sa panahon natin at makabagong panahon ngayon because clearly that was a common sentiment. Most of the voters did not recognize all of the candidates, even doon sa mga gusto nila, kukonti lang yung kilala nila.
Yes, ganun nga. Naalala ko tuloy nung panahon natin na talagang tulong-tulong pa nga sa paggawa ng mga campaign materials kasi
Yes,
ginagamit
kumbaga
lang natin yung
kabasketball mo pa yung kandidato.
Oo. Yes. Hindi katulad ngayon na sophisticated na, gumagamit na ng mga online platforms aside from tarpaulin na yung ginagamit at naglalakihan pa nga at yung iba pa nga ay meron ng mga talagang mga bayarin ng mga watchers at mga support staff at talagang ibang-iba na nga doon sa una nating kinagis na halalang pambarangay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Arwin Serrano, PPCRV. Sorry, naubusan na tayo ng panahon, but perhaps if we get the second chance, we'll call you again. But congratulations for your efforts and for the efforts of the PPCRV. God bless all of you, sir.
Yes, maraming salamat kaibigan Cito sa iyong impilan, sa ating mga tagapakinig at taga-subaybay, and God bless us all.
Okay. That's Dr. Arwin Serrano, Director for Voter Education, Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting. Let's go to our closing reminder for this week. And it is something that all of you, it is from Francis Bacon, and he says, a wise man will make more opportunities than he finds. Don't rely on finding opportunities. Make them, okay, by recognizing them. Okay, we will go for a quick break. We don't go for quick breaks. We will now close our program. Thank you very much to all of you. Bear with me. Medyo marami pong iniinom na gamot. But thank you and God bless all of you. Please keep it here on One News.